Have you ever noticed how the entire financial system feels like it's working against you? Like no matter how hard you try, you're stuck in a loop of working, spending, and barely getting ahead. Is it an accident or by design? Well, by the end of this video, you'll know whether or not you're being played, whether or not you've been set up, and more importantly, how you can break free. Let's think back to school for a second. You spent years learning algebra, chemistry, even reading novels like Catcher in the Rye. But let me ask you, what if you had swapped out that book, say for Rich Dad, Poor Dad? How different would your life today be if you'd been taught how to grow money, invest in real estate, or, the formula to escape the rat race? Or better yet, how to avoid the rat race altogether? Have you noticed that financial literacy, it's barely even mentioned in school? You might have had one random lesson on, say, balancing a checkbook or learning compound interest, but never anything that stuck or actually prepared you for the real world. Why is that? Is it because if you were financially savvy, the system wouldn't work the way that it's designed to? I don't know, let's keep looking. You spent 12 years in school learning about things that you'll probably never use. Geometry proofs, periodic tables, and yes, Catcher in the Rye. But no one sat you down and said, here's how to buy your first home. Here's how to manage your credit. Here's how to build wealth. Was that an oversight? Was it a deliberate choice by those who designed the curriculum? Have you noticed that we're taught just enough to become employees, but not enough to break free and become financially independent? And this doesn't stop on graduation day, does it? As adults, we're bombarded with fear of inflation, fear of losing our jobs, fear of debt. And have you noticed how the system teaches us to fear debt like it's some kind of wild monster, while the wealthy use it as a friendly ally, as a partner? Debt, it's neither good nor bad. It's a tool, and a powerful one at that. The wealthy, they use it strategically to acquire income-producing assets and accelerate their wealth. The masses, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and countless other mainstream media financial experts, they teach us to avoid it at all costs. Why? Because when you don't use debt as a tool, you're forced to depend only on what you can earn and save, which is exactly what they want. Do you think they don't know that you don't make enough to save enough to become rich? And fear doesn't just stop with debt, it extends to investing too. We've been told real estate is risky. There's always this bubble that's just about to burst. But think about this, real estate has created more wealth for more people than any other investment, despite that lingering bubble. Here, to keep it simple, the average homeowner is 40 times wealthier than the average renter. Wouldn't you have liked to have known that statistic by, say, graduation day? And have you noticed that the risky label keeps most people from even trying? Is it all part of the system to keep you in place? But fear and misinformation aren't the only ways to question how the system keeps us stuck. Have you thought about the complexity that's built into explaining investing overall? You've got PE ratios, ETFs, derivatives. None of it is necessary to get started. So are they piling it all on there to make you feel like you need them to manage your money? Investing can be ridiculously simple. Open an account with Wealthfront as an example. Set up an automated weekly deposit. Start with as little as $20 and then just direct it to a balanced mutual fund. You won't even notice it's gone. And every few months, you just bump it up a little bit and you'll be amazed at how fast that grows. The key, start small, automate, and forget about it. You don't need to pay a financial planner for this. Couldn't they have taught something as simple as that, like, say, just 15 minutes before recess on a Friday? Use the Wealthfront link in the description and we'll both get an extra half point in returns. And investing is not just for Wall Street. Real estate. Buying an income property, for example, is far simpler and far more accessible than they want you to believe. Think about it. One income property could pay you every month for the rest of your life. And it's the only investment available to the average person that essentially buys itself. Once you get past the down payment. And if that's what's stopping you, there are more than 10 ways to get into an income property without a down payment. Realistically, I wrote a short report on it and I uploaded a free copy for you at zerodownkit.com. And it's not just about owning real estate. It's about owning freedom, but they don't teach you that. They'd rather keep you in the dark, funneling your savings into low-yield accounts that make more money for them than they make for you. Have you ever stopped to question the whole idea of compound interest? They sell it like it's the key to wealth, but by the time it compounds into something meaningful for most people, they're too old to enjoy it. And then there's this. Why do they put a limit on how much you can contribute to retirement accounts each year? Is that their safety net, just in case you are a high earner and you can manage to leverage compound interest to build your wealth quickly? Do they not want you to get there too fast? Do they want you working and contributing to their system until it's their time, not yours? And then there's inflation, the hidden tax that no one talks about. Well, at least not until recently. They've had to. Have you noticed how your money, it seems to buy less and less each year? In those last few years, certainly you have. That's not an accident. Inflation, it's built into the system. It's not just a side effect. It's a feature designed to rob you of your buying power. And if you don't understand how inflation works, it doesn't just steal your money, it slows you down, way down. It's why Robert Kiyosaki famously said, savers are losers. And why did the system refer to him as some nut job when he said it? If you don't invest and grow your money faster than inflation eats it, will you ever get ahead? No. And that's all he was saying. But they say he's crazy. You know, whether you are intentionally set up to fail or not, the results are undeniable. 95% of today's 65-year-olds aren't prepared to retire on their own devices. And all they did their whole lives was do what they were told. If you want a different outcome and you're open to it, there's a different playbook to work from. The wealthy 1%, they run a different set of plays than the masses. First thing is, you want to start questioning everything, even the stuff that you believe to be true. Like, is debt really dangerous? Is that employee match really free money? Is real estate really risky? What if instead of saving every spare dollar in a 401k for 40 years, you just bought a fourplex? What if instead of fearing debt, you used it to buy income-producing assets that paid you more than the debt cost you? What if, instead of deferring to your financial planner, or worse, the human resource person at your job, you automate a small weekly withdrawal from your savings account into an index fund today and just set it and forget it? And saved on the fees? I mean, because just like that interest compounds, so do those fees. You don't need permission to start building wealth. You just need to do it. And let's be real, there's no cavalry coming to teach you this stuff. But here's the good news. The information, it is out there. You can learn how to buy property, how to invest, and how to make your money work for you. And it doesn't take years, just a little bit of time and the decision to start. The system may or may not be rigged, but there are different ways to play the game and win. And much of this, may have been news to you or not, I don't know. But one thing is for sure, you weren't born knowing it. What if you learned all of this years ago, or at the very least, years before you did learn it, if you did? How different would your life look today? If any of this caused you to think a little differently and question stuff you've accepted as unequivocal truths, pass it on, like, and subscribe for more no BS financial insights. And hey, check out this next video right here where I'll show you exactly how to get started with your first income property. It's simpler than you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.